my god, I know I'm gonna get so much hate for this video. I can already see the trolls. I can already see the comments. Hi guys, I'm Edna with Grad Photography. Thank you for joining me today. Okay, first of all, I want to say that nobody asked for my damn opinion, but I think that I can give you my opinion because I have been photographing for over 30 years. And what you may not know about me is I don't just have one brand, Grad Photography, just weddings and engagements. I have 6 different brands, 6 different websites. I do headshots and corporate events. I do weddings and engagements. I do boudoir. I do newborn, maternity, and motherhood. I've even dabbled in architecture photography. I've done interior photography, like hotels and real estate and things like that. So I've gotten pretty good at all of them, to tell you the truth, because I've been doing this for 30 years. So I'm not 5 years in telling you I can tell you everything about photography. I can't. I don't do race car driving. I do people, mostly people, although I do some architectural stuff. But because I've done so many different types of photography, and I want to preface this by saying that the reason that I do all this type of photography is because I've been shooting for so long. I just want to spice things up in my life, and I'll add something once in a while, like, oh, like I should do newborns. Newborns are so cute. It would be fun to learn something new. Like, right, I've been shooting weddings for 30 years. Like, I love to do something different, right? So I'm here today to tell you, if you are a newbie photographer and you want to get into a style of photography, but you like all kinds of different work, which ones are the hardest, technically speaking, and which ones are a little bit easier that I think you can jump into a little bit easier. I'm not here to say that what you do as a photographer is so easy in comparison to what this other person does as a photographer. I'm not here to say that. There is no such thing as something being easy and you can just get in and do it. That doesn't exist in this universe. You have to be really good at what you do, and it takes years to get really good at anything that you decide to do in this industry. But I'm gonna rate them by the difficulty of mastering something, okay? And I'm gonna rate portrait and wedding photography, right? I'm not gonna go into anything else. I'm just gonna do people, okay? So I'm gonna start by saying that wedding photography, in my humble opinion, wedding photography is the most difficult, technically speaking, to shoot. It's going to be the most difficult to master, and here's why. Number one, you not only have to be really good technically with your camera, like you need to nail f-stop, shutter speeds, color temperatures, and you need to know your camera like it's the back of your hand. Like, you need to really know your camera to get into wedding photography. You cannot mess around. You cannot just green square it forever and think you're going to get great images or impactful images, because that's not going to happen. Coming as a manual shooter here, you not only have to know your camera technically, but you have to learn how to pose correctly, or how to make people look good, right? How to make people look attractive, how to make a bride look beautiful. So you have to learn posing. You have to learn how to technically photograph. You also have to learn lighting. You have to learn everything about lighting. Off-camera flash, on-camera flash, window lighting, natural lighting, ambient lighting. There is a lot that encompasses shooting weddings, and you can't screw it up. This is somebody's once in a lifetime. You cannot make mistakes. I mean, of course, you can always make little mistakes, right? Little things. But really, if you're shooting a ceremony outdoors and it's overcast and all of a sudden the kiss shot is happening and the sun decides to peek out right at that moment, you're gonna mess up that shot if you don't know how to quickly adjust your camera settings so that you're nailing that picture. And lighting changes constantly when you're shooting a wedding. Plus, you go from shooting outdoors and being a natural light shooter to going indoors and having to master flash photography. So I consider wedding photography to be at the top of the list of difficulty in regards to photography genres. Number 2 in level of difficulty, I would consider to be newborn photography. It took me about 4 years to really feel that I was good at newborn photography, and I don't think I'm the best. I don't think I've nailed every nuance to it, but the style of photography I'm talking about is like posed newborn photos, not lifestyle photography. I'm not here to tell you whether that's right or wrong, or whether you love that style of photography or you hate it, because people can go off about just like anything having to do with babies and newborns and wrapping in them and how constricting. I'm not here to talk about that. And you're thinking about getting into newborn photography, how difficult is it to emulate those newborn photographers that you see that do all those cute poses? And it's really difficult. Learning one pose is going to take you months. It's going to take you many, many, many babies. And even then, like getting the nuance of bringing the fingers out and tilting the head and the light. Oh my God, the light coming in from one direction so you get beautiful lighting and the reflector, and how to make that light look like window light so it's creamy and soft and beautiful. And retouching, oh my God. Don't get me into retouching newborns, because that's a whole nother thing. All that skin that's coming off of them, all the baby acne, all the red blotches, all of the purple blotches, like that's a whole nother universe of difficulty. Wedding photography, when you're retouching, is not as difficult as newborn photography. Number 3, I'm going to say, is family portraits. Family portraits are a lot of fun, and most of the time I do my family portraits outdoors, occasionally indoors, but most of the time I have bigger groups, and so usually it's outdoors. And the nice thing about family portraits, and the reason that I don't put it at a more difficult level, is because I choose the time of day to shoot, and I always shoot near sunset, like no later than 2, maybe 3 hours before sunset max, depending on the location. So I'm shooting at the right time of day, which already makes it so much easier, because in wedding photography, if your client's like, oh yeah, my wedding's at noon and you have to go out there and shoot at noon, you have to go out there and shoot at noon. It's not your choice. For family portraits, it's the time of day that I choose, and most of the time I let my clients know what the best locations are going to be, and they're going to take my advice. So I'm already shooting at a location that I like, at a time of day that I like. And what makes family portraits difficult is, if you're not comfortable with large groups, and if you're not comfortable with children. So most of the time my clients have a lot of little kids, and they usually take more portraits when their children are little, and you have to be comfortable with working with kids, and that's not easy. It's not easy to try to make them smile, try to make them laugh. Peekaboo, I got you, I'm gonna get you. Like, it's physically exhausting to photograph little kids. Like, seriously, it's really tiring. So I can't do a lot of family portrait shoots in one day. Like, even when I'm doing my mini sessions, I do 3 in a day. I don't do 10. You know, I don't do 8 hours of doing kids, and I like to do things really, really well. So 3 is the max that I'll do even for mini sessions. So another thing that makes family portraits difficult is, of course, prompted poses and regular poses, right? You can do the prompted poses where they're walking, or they're just hugging, or they're just being silly, or you can do the regular posing where you're trying to get nice composition with a head here and a head here and a head over here and everybody hugging and everybody looking. And let me tell you, as much as everybody loves prompted posing now and they all want to be looking down at their kids, most of the time my clients choose photos where their kids are looking at the camera and smiling. That is like 95% of the time they're just looking at the camera and smiling. Posing is and can be difficult for some people to remember to pose, to remember how to put their heads, where to put their hands, how to have them interact. That can be a little bit difficult, and it's something that you need to learn. It could take a couple of years to be really good at family portrait. It could take even longer, but I would say a couple of years is going to be about right to do some pretty good family portraits. It's easier to do family portraits when the kids are a little bit older, but when they're little, it's definitely more difficult. So number 4, in my humble opinion, is children's portraiture, just kids by themselves. Obviously, shooting kids at any point in their lives is just more difficult. They don't do what you tell them to do. And when they're 2, it's literally the most difficult age to try to get a kid to do anything. They probably start paying attention when they're like 5, maybe 6. And 7 or 8 starts becoming a little bit easier. But kids' portraiture can be difficult. Now, if you're one of those photographers that does a really cool composite, that's a whole nother level of difficulty. So I would even bump that up a little bit higher. But normal children's portraiture in studio with props and all of that, or outdoors, interacting with nature, I would put that at number 4 of difficulty. I don't do a lot of kids' portraiture because I'm usually busy doing so many other things. But when I've done it, I would definitely say it does have a level of difficulty. But because you're not really posing, you're not posing little kids, you don't have to learn posing very well. Like, little kids aren't going to do much. They're mostly interacting with props or looking at the camera, smiling, standing, running. As they get a little bit older, they can do some posing, but it's not the level of posing like in fashion photography or something. Number 5 on my list of difficulty would be boudoir photography. And boudoir is one of my favorite types of photography. I don't do a ton of it. I wish I did. I don't have the time to market that aspect of my work very much. I'm usually super busy with weddings and other things. But I love doing it. I love making women feel sexy and beautiful and having self-love and all of that. I think it's just so important. But it is difficult. There is a level of difficulty, and I would say doing good boudoir photography is going to take at least a couple of years of really getting it down and really practicing. So I would say that the level of difficulty is learning posing, learning good lighting, learning how to make somebody look and feel attractive is a whole art to itself. Like, how to make sure that a woman looks slimmer and more attractive. Not that somebody wants to look slimmer. I don't want people coming after me. Everybody's bodies are beautiful. Everyone is beautiful. But there is obviously women in today's society want to look more beautiful when they're coming in for a boudoir session. They want to look sexier. They want to feel more beautiful, curvier, more luscious, slimmer for some people. There is a level of difficulty to learning those poses. So it takes a couple of years to master that if you're just doing boudoir. You have to learn how to light, either indoors or outdoors. You have to learn how to do studio photography, how to learn beautiful lighting, obviously how to work your camera, and how to pose a female or a couple. And the fact that you don't have kids in the photographs already brings that level of difficulty down a little bit. The next one, and I don't even know what number I'm at now at this point. The next one would be grads. I consider grads to be a little bit on the easier side in the photography universe. They're so much fun. Grads want to be there normally. They want to take pictures. They want to look cool. They want to have fun. I mean, they're not wrinkled, and they're at the most attractive that they're going to be in their life when they're 18 to 25 or 30. Like, you're going to look good. There's not going to be a ton of retouching. There's going to be acne for teenagers, high school grads and stuff, which isn't too difficult to Photoshop. But they're down for anything. They're down to have fun. They're down to have those like fashiony pictures. And so they are going to do anything that you're saying. They're old enough to understand what you're saying and be able to pose. And most of the time nowadays, they don't want a lot of like really structured posing. They want a lot of prompted poses, and they want to have fun. And so a lot of those types of photographs are going to be a little looser, a little more photojournalistic. In my opinion, that makes it a little bit easier. Of course, you have to learn how to make somebody look attractive. Of course, you have to learn how to use your camera. My puppy's crying over there. My chunky husky. But I think it's a lot easier than working with kids and You get to choose the time of day you want to shoot. You get to collaborate on a really cool location, and there's fun wardrobe and all kinds of things. And so I would consider that a little bit easier than a lot of other styles of photography. Now, if you're getting into really structured posing, then that could add a level of difficulty because you have to learn that posing. I think she wants a snacky. I think she really wants a snacky, so let's take a break here. All right, I got her snacked up. Hopefully she doesn't yell anymore. Next down on the list of ease, I would consider to be headshots. I think for me, headshots are the easiest thing that I do. So I make them the most affordable. They are mostly upper body, depending. I mean, you can do full body and you can do branding photos that are outdoors, and it's basically almost like shooting a senior because you're going to do all kinds of stuff. But in general, I think headshots are a little easier. I mean, of course, you need to know how to use your camera. You need to be great at indoor lighting, great at outdoor lighting. But in general, they don't want extravagant posing. They want simple posing. You know, we're gonna do this or this or, you know, this or, you know, this or this, but it's not gonna be like really extravagant posing where you need to really learn a lot about posing. You can get down a good 5 to 10 headshot poses, and most of the time that's going to be fine. I'm going to tell you, my clients end up usually choosing a super basic pose like this. I'm not kidding. Usually it's just a simple pose like this or like this or like this. Really easy. I would consider headshots to be probably the easiest genre of photography that I do. Headshots for me are super easy, and you can do it with one good light setup and a reflector. And so if you kind of are just wanting to dabble in photography and just kind of maybe start your business, you might want to start with headshots and see how you like it and work your way to, you know, shooting family portraits, or, you know, once you start networking with them, most of the time these real estate agents or lawyers or whoever, they're going to have families, and you can slowly start dabbling into other things. But headshots can get you in the door and can have you meet a lot of people, and it can be really lucrative. I do big corporate event headshots where I shoot the entire company, and it pays very well to do that. I charge a per person fee for that, and includes a retouch. So you can do really well if you have 100 people that you're shooting. So anyways, guys, that's just my opinion. I'm sure that if you're a headshot photographer and, you know, you've taken 10 years to master your craft, I'm not saying that you're probably not freaking amazing at headshots and that you can master headshots and 10 years down the line you're going to be extraordinary, because there are extraordinary headshot photographers out there that have been doing this their whole lives, and they're producing artwork at this point. Like, they are that good. But I'm just talking about in general, in the portrait field, what can you get into that has an easy entry level skill set in photography? Now, there's no such thing as something you can I just bought a camera and I'm going to start doing headshots. Like, that doesn't exist, guys. No matter what, it's going to be at least a couple of years before you're good at anything. Whatever you decide to get into, learn your craft, practice, 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 practice. Do a lot of model calls. Do free photo shoots. People love free photo shoots, and that's a great way to practice. And in case you don't know what a model call is, it's where you reach out to people and tell them that you're looking for a model and you're willing to shoot them for free or for a very, very discounted price. Anyways, guys, again, this is just my opinion. Please don't go nuts and don't start hating and don't start trolling me. This is just my opinion as somebody who's been shooting for 30 years and actually has all the different websites and specialties under her belt. I'm not meaning to demean anybody out there doing any type of work. I think it's all wonderful. It's all beautiful. And if you guys have any questions or any comments or anything, please put them down below. Just say hi to me down below in the comments. That always helps the algorithm. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And guys, don't forget to choose happiness, choose passion, choose joy in your everyday life, and get out there and practice. I promise, I've said this before, it'll click at some point. It does for everybody. Just get out there and practice. Just do it. Thanks, guys, for stopping by, and you guys have a great rest of your day.